The Valdrine wastes stretched endlessly beneath the crimson sky of Zephon 7, a desolate expanse where the Galactic Council sent those deemed too dangerous to exist among civilized species. At its heart lay the chasm of echoes, and within that abyss dwelled something the galaxy had tried to forget, the Kravosh. Once, she had been a queen among her kind, a crystalline entity of devastating beauty and power. But fear turned to hatred, and hatred to exile. The Council had stripped her of her name, her people, everything. Now she was simply the beast, left to die slowly in isolation, her crystalline form gradually dulling without the stellar radiation her species needed to survive. Nobody dared approach the chasm. Not the mighty Thorian warriors. Not the telepathic Zen. Certainly not the profit-driven Merchants Guild. The Kravosh's reputation preceded her: planet killer, destroyer of fleets, the nightmare that ended the Sixth War. And yet, when the human colony ship Terra Nova crashed on Zephon 7, the Galactic Council saw opportunity. The human child survives, announced Counselor Vextar, his 6 eyes gleaming with cold calculation. One remains, the girl. Jack stood before the council chamber's viewport, his hands clenched into fists. Blood still stained his rescue suit from pulling survivors from the wreckage. 23 colonists dead. Only he and 7-year-old Jessica had survived, and barely. "You're insane," Jack said, his voice trembling with barely controlled rage. "She's a child. Jessica's just a kid who lost her parents in that crash." "Precisely why she is." "Appropriate," Vextar replied. "The Kravosh feeds on stellar energy. Without it, she weakens. But her prison also contains a mineral deposit that could power this sector for centuries. The Guild wants those resources. So mine around her," Jack spat. "Impossible. She would destroy any automated system, and no being will approach her." Vexitar's mandibles clicked with what might have been a smile, except perhaps if properly unmotivated, if something precious were placed in her domain. The humans are known for their irrational attachment to offspring. Jack's blood ran cold. "You want to use Jessica as bait, to lure that creature out so you can kill it. We prefer the term strategic incentive. You will have 3 choices. Human, attempt rescue and likely die with the child. Abandon her and live, or convince the beast to relocate. We frankly don't care which, but the girl goes into the chasm at dawn." Jessica didn't cry when they brought her to the edge. She had cried when her mother died, cried when she couldn't find her father in the wreckage. Now she just held Jack's hand and looked at the darkness below. "I'm scared," she whispered. "I know, Jess. Me too." Jack knelt beside her, his heart breaking. "But I'm going down there with you." "You don't have to." "Yes, I do." He adjusted the emergency light stick on her jacket. "That's what family does. We stick together." She wasn't his daughter, wasn't even related, but in the 2 days since the crash, she'd become his responsibility, his purpose. The council guards shoved them both toward the drop platform. The descent took 15 minutes. 15 minutes of darkness and the echo of their breathing. When they reached the bottom, the platform rose immediately, sealing them in. The cavern floor was covered in crystalline fragments, each one glowing faintly with dying light. And in the center, vast and terrible, lay the Kravosh. She was larger than the crashed ship, her body a complex geometry of translucent crystal faces, each one dimmer than it should be. Frozen mid-movement, she looked like a sculpture of barely contained violence. "Hello," Jessica said softly. The crystal entity stirred. Light flickered deep within her core. Surprise, perhaps, or hunger. "Jessica, stay behind me," Jack warned, stepping forward. "Look, we didn't choose this. We're prisoners, too. We crashed here, lost everything." He spread his arms. "I know what they say about you. I know what you did. But that doesn't mean you deserve to die alone in the dark." The Kravosh shifted and the cavern trembled. A sound emerged, not words but a vibration that resonated in their bones. Grief, rage, loneliness. Jessica slipped past Jack before he could stop her. She walked right up to the crystalline form, so small against its massive bulk, and pressed her tiny hand against the dimming surface. "I lost my family too," she whispered. "I know it hurts." Light burst through the cavern, not the cold stellar radiation the Kravosh needed, but something else. Something warm. The creature's massive form contracted, reshaped until something almost humanoid emerged from the crystal mass. Its voice, when it finally spoke, was like wind chimes in a hurricane. "You, are not afraid. I am, Jessica admitted. But Jack said family means staying together even when you're scared. You don't have family here anymore, do you? The Kravosh lowered what might have been a head. They took everything. My crime was being powerful, being different, being feared. That's stupid, Jessica declared with the blunt honesty of childhood. Different isn't bad. Different is just different. Jack felt tears on his face. This child, this brave, broken child, was teaching a creature that had destroyed worlds about compassion. The council wants you gone, Jack said. But we humans, we're stubborn. We don't leave people behind. Any people. Even, he gestured at the crystalline form, even people made of living starlight. The Kravosh regarded them for a long moment. Then she began to move, her massive form shifting through the cavern toward a wall. With casual strength, she carved through solid rock, creating a tunnel that sloped upward. I have been dying slowly in darkness, the Kravosh said. Your kind offers light, not the light of stars, but something I had forgotten existed. Hope. She paused. You came down here expecting to die for this child. Seemed like the right thing to do, Jack said simply. That, the Kravosh replied, her crystalline laughter echoing through the cavern, is why the galaxy fears you humans. You do impossible things for irrational reasons. You call it love. We call it terrifying. As they emerged from the chasm, Jack carrying Jessica and the Kravosh towering behind them, the council guards retreated in panic. Counselor Vextar's ship engines fired up immediately. Where will you go? Jessica asked the Kravosh. Somewhere bright, somewhere warm. The creature's form caught the crimson sunlight, blazing back to life. And perhaps, somewhere with humans. You are the only species foolish enough to offer kindness to monsters. You're not a monster, Jessica said firmly. You're just scared and lonely. That's different. The Kravosh laughed again, a sound like shattering diamonds. Child, I have ended civilizations. Yeah, but you saved us. That's what matters now, right? Jack watched the most feared being in the galaxy gently touch Jessica's hair with a tendril of living crystal. Yes, the Kravosh whispered. That is what matters now. As they walked toward the crashed Terra Nova, Jack realized something profound. The galaxy saw humanity as weak, irrational, too emotional. But maybe that wasn't weakness. Maybe compassion in the face of fear. Kindness toward the feared. Maybe that was humanity's real strength. Nobody had dared save the exiled beast. Nobody except a grieving human and a brave little girl who understood that everyone deserves a second chance, and that changed everything.